Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. This morning, we are going to start a book called The Art of Reading. And the reason that we're going to go through this book is for a couple of reasons. The first one is that I have noticed a lot of people who are learning English and taking tests. A lot of times they have a reading component where they have to read out loud, and this will help you to get the right intonation and pronunciation. But also, if your native language is English and you're interested in making audiobooks or something like that, this is a big help for that sort of situation. So we're going to read through it and practice, and I'm doing it live, and I hope that one of you will join me in Discord so that we can practice the intonation together. So if I can get someone to practice with me, you can join and we will work on your pronunciation of English, but also more importantly, we will be focusing on the intonation of what you are saying, which can reduce your accent quite a bit. So this should be very helpful. So the title of this book is The Art of Reading. It's an old book. It was written in 1852, but they placed a lot more emphasis on being able to speak properly back then. So I don't see that as a bad thing that it's old, 170 years old. I see that as a very good thing. All right, well, let's get started. Introduction to elocution. So elocution is the art of speaking, by the way. The lessons annexed to this first part of the introduction to elocution will be found printed in certain marks which require explanation. They are intended to afford assistance in teaching to read by regulating the pauses and accentuation. By the way, I've already read this book, so that's why I know it's useful. All right, so first we're going to establish the rules about what kind of marks they're using and what you should do when you see those marks. Much of this book is just practice, so they give you passages from books and then you read them based on the punctuation that you see. These marks are of two kinds. The first kind, placed between two words, may be regarded as an addition to the ordinary punctuation, marking those pauses which ought to be made in reading, but which are not marked in the punctuation. The marks for this purpose are two: the one and a double horizontal line, or the hyphen, marking a longer, more decisive pause, usually separating the subject from the verb, and the noun from its description, or its adjunct connected by a relative pronoun, and the other a horizontal line, or a single hyphen, uniting separate words or phrases into one whole, and usually requiring a shorter pause. The second kind of marks are accents: the acute accent, sloping downward to the left, marking the stronger, and the grave accent, sloping downward to the right, marking the weaker or secondary accent. A brief explanation of the principles on which these marks have been inserted may afford some useful hints in reading and in teaching to read. When children begin to read, they give every syllable an equal pause and are equally accented. Thus, "'Tis the voice of the sluggard, I heard him complain." I think we all have heard children reading. That's definitely what they do. The next step in their progress is that they class those syllables together, which form words, leaving the others as before. Thus, "'Tis the voice of the sluggard, I heard him complain." The words sluggard and complain are now heard not as four separate syllables, but as two words. Words are thus formed of syllables, partly by pronouncing the syllables more closely together, and partly by giving an accent to one of the syllables, round which the other syllables are congregated, as sluggard, or complain, or majesty, majestic, recollect, difficulty, sufficiently, manufactured, voluntarily, accumulating, gratification, etc. As the number of syllables in a word increases, especially when the accent being near the beginning or end of the word, a number of unaccented syllables are thrown together. A secondary accent is introduced. Thus, in the word voluntarily, the primary accent being on the first syllable, vol, and there is a second strong tendency to place another or secondary accent on the third syllable, tar. I was just doing an English class right before I started reading this, and we were talking about where to place the accent in the word volunteer. And it turns out that that's not such an easy question to answer. So, in the word gratification, the second accent being on the fourth syllable, k, the first, gra, acquires a certain degree of accent, gratification, gratification. When words exceed 5 syllables, a second accent is always necessary, wherever the principal accent may be, as in communicativeness. So if we follow their rules of the two accented ones, the first syllable, the first accent is strong, communicativeness, and the ka is secondary, communicativeness. I guess I see it. Reconsideration. Reconsideration. Sorry, I'm reading that wrong according to the accent marks. Reconsideration. Comprehensibility. Comprehensibility. Incomprehensibility. Anti-Trinitarian. Anti-Trinitarian. Okay. In these long words, there are frequently 3 accents distinctly heard. Indeed, a discriminating ear will discover that there is a sort of gradation of accent running through them. Thus, in such a word as incomprehensibleness, the accentuation is regulated thus. The chief accent is on the syllable hen, and the second on com, and the third on ness, the fourth on in, the remainder being totally unaccented. Now there are constantly occurring phrases which, though the words are separately written, yet they are so closely connected in sense that they require to be treated in precisely the same manner, namely to be combined, as it were, into one word by pronouncing them closely together and giving to one of them an accent, and sometimes to others of them a secondary or tertiary accent. Tertiary means third. So you have secondary, that means second, and tertiary means third accent, or third place accent. Thus, the line which we have already quoted ought to be read as if it consisted of 4 words. "'Tis the voice of the sluggard. I heard him complain." Now, much of the perspicuity of reading, let's define that word, perspicuity. Perspicuity. Clarity or ease of understanding. Now, much of the perspicuity of reading consists in thus grouping together those words which are closely connected and which present one object to the mind. And nothing creates greater confusion and indistinctness. Indistinctness, that means maybe hard to understand, or hard to pick out the words in this case. That when a reader or speaker separates those words which ought to be united and joins those words which ought to be separated. So they're saying that one way it might be difficult for people to understand what you're reading or what you're saying is if you don't push closely related words together, or if you don't separate words that are not related. Let anyone read the above line differently grouped, and he will discover the injury that is due to the perspicuity of the language, so the clarity, the clearness of the language. "'Tis the voice of the sluggard I heard him complain," or "'Tis the voice of the sluggard I heard him complain." So where you choose to pause should be where the words stop being related to one another. And where you shouldn't pause is when two words are related, or more than when the words are related to each other. In the following lessons, the words of each lesson are distributed into groups, each forming a compound word to be read closely together and having an accent on the principal word, so that when read, it may be heard, not as a succession of syllables or words, but as a succession of phrases, each containing a distinct idea within itself and kept separate from the others. But these compound words or phrases are not connected together with equal closeness. Some of them require to be pronounced more closely together than others, because they are more nearly connected in sense. Thus, to keep by the same example, there ought, manifestly, to be a longer pause after the word sluggard than other words. Voice and hymn. To express this difference of connection between different phrases, the two marks of pauses already noticed have been adopted. The double hyphen, intimating the longer pause. We've had that word intimate before, which means giving a hint or giving an indication or telling you to do something, intimating the longer pause, hinting that you should make a longer pause, telling you to make a longer pause. And the single hyphen, a shorter pause. When one of the ordinary points intervenes, no additional mark is deemed necessary. Deem means consider, so no additional mark is considered necessary. So when one of the ordinary points intervenes, no additional mark is considered necessary, because any of them implies a division between one phrase and another. Thus, in our example, different connections might be marked in this manner. "'Tis the voice of the sluggard, I heard him complain," or "'Tis the voice of the sluggard, I heard him complain." Okay, because there's a comma after sluggard, maybe they won't put a mark, because that's already an indication that you should pause. Sometimes words are so closely connected, while yet two, or even more of them, may be words which ought to be distinctly marked in reading, that it's difficult to say whether they should be united together in one compound phrase with primary and secondary accents, or whether they should be regarded as separate phrases. In these cases, the principal words are accented, but without any mark of separation being placed between them. This suggests another very important topic, namely primary and secondary accents. In uniting the phrase into which language is distributed, it will be found that there's a great diversity amongst the accents, some being more strong and marked than others. Thus, in our example, the accent on the word sluggard is stronger than the word voice. 'Tis the voice of the sluggard. So that's what they're saying. That the word sluggard, I don't even know what a sluggard is. It sounds like something disgusting. But let's see. Lazy, slow moving, or inactive. So a lazy person. Thus, in our example, the accent on the word sluggard is stronger than that of voice. So sluggard is a more important word. It gets more attention. But voice also gets attention, just less. 'Tis the voice of the sluggard. You hear how they're both accented, but one is bigger because it's more important. And the accent on the word complain is stronger than on the word heard. I heard him complain. To mark these distinctions, the acute and grave accents are employed. The acute to express the stronger, and the grave the weaker accent. Thus, "'Tis the voice of the sluggard, I heard him complain." The whole line is thus divided into two compound phrases by the double hyphen after the word sluggard, and the two parts of the compound phrases are separated, yet combined by the marks of division after the words voice and him, and by a principal accent being given on the words sluggard and complain, the secondary accents to the words voice and heard. One general principle of ascertaining where the accent lies, that word ascertain means like finding. Here it means like finding. One general principle of finding where the accent lies, and which determines a great variety of cases, is that whatever word limits the phrase or renders it more specific requires the primary accent. So they're saying, well, if you're wondering how do you know which word in a phrase will get the important accent, the answer is probably a word that defines the phrase, like the most important word in the phrase. But you have to figure out what that word is. But I think that's pretty easy most of the time. But when they show us some examples, then we can look at it and say, oh, why did they decide this word was important? I think it would be pretty obvious, though. Because the limitation is usually that which the speaker wishes or finds it necessary most detrimentally, most determinately to impress upon his auditors. Thus, when the adjective qualifies a noun, the adjective carries the accent, as in a good man, a tall horse, a high house, because these words, good, defines man. What kind of man? A good man. What kind of horse? A tall horse. What kind of house? A high house. These are defining words. Tall, good, high. When the adverb qualifies a verb, the adverb carries the accent, as read slowly. So slowly is defining the word read, therefore it gets more attention. Read slowly. Speak distinctly. The negative particle, however, does not come under this rule. It is treated as if it formed part of the verb itself. Read not. Oh, Muhammad is here. Hello, Muhammad. You disappeared the other night when we were practicing. What happened to you? As if it formed part of the verb itself. Read not. Thou shalt not. Okay, the one reason I was kind of hesitant to use this book is because they use a lot of old, sort of archaic English, but I guess we can just run through that as it comes. So it's not so much here that I'm afraid this is going to confuse you, but later, when they have big passages of things to read, we'll probably have to talk about some words that you don't know, you or I don't know. On the same principle, in compound numbers, the smaller number carries the accent as 21, 22, 23, or 1 and 20. So that's an older way of saying 21 would be 1 and 20, but still it's the smaller word that gets the smaller number that gets the accent. 1 and 20. 2 and 20. 3 and 20. 151. So they're telling you that when you say a number, you should put the accent on the smaller number. 152. When a verb follows its nominative, the verb carries the accent. The sun shines. Let me read that again. When the verb follows its nominative, the verb carries the accent. So the sun shines. The wind blows. The thrush sings. In the case of a verb governing its object, don't worry, you don't have to remember this, because what happens after they go through the rules is there will be practice exercises, and that's where it will get interesting. But right now, this seems like a lot of information. So let's just read through it, and then if we're confused, we can go back and remind ourselves what we need to do. In the case of a verb governing its objective, the objective carries the accent. Read the letter. Call the servant. Light the candle. But if the objective be a pronoun, the verb carries the accent, as in call him, light it, read it. See, this is very interesting information, not just for reading, but also if you're learning English, because this is how people speak. But it's a lot, they're putting a lot of information here in this first part already, I can see. But it's interesting, it's extremely interesting. The pronoun may be emphatic, in which case it would carry the accent, and it may be laid down as a general rule that to accent a pronoun always suggests a contrast, that is, it renders the pronoun emphatic. When one noun governs another in the possessive case, the noun governed usually carries the primary accent, as in the light of the sun. Wait, let me read that again. This is confusing. When one noun governs another in the possessive, the noun governed. So in the light of the sun, I'm not looking at the accents. The sun is the word being governed. Okay, so let's see if that's right. Yeah, the light of the sun. So sun is the main word, and light of the light is still an important word, but it's less important. The light of the sun. The cold of the ice. The warmth of the fire. But when nouns form their possessive case by adding s, the governing word is frequently the one which the speaker has most directly before his mind, and therefore takes the primary accent. The children's book. The lion's mane. These, however, are but the elements of sentences, for it frequently happens that adjectives qualify nouns and adverbs, adjectives and verbs have their nominatives and their objectives in the same sentence. There's a lot of they're very technical the way they're writing this. But what they're saying is, it's wonderful to talk about how to accent words in a small phrase of 2 or 3 words. But the problem is that these words always occur in a sentence. So, there you have all of these situations in one group, in one sentence. So how do you control this? It will naturally occur to an attentive reader that the combination of these various cases must create a great diversity in the intensity of accents, one accent, as it were, rising above another. And so, in fact, it does. So, the way that you deal with this, all those words will probably have accents, but some of them will just be bigger than others. And accurately to mark them all would require a system of accentuation far too complex to be generally useful. But although only 2 marks have been employed, yet when the sentence requires that the successive accents should increase in intensity, this is indicated by 2 or more primaries or secondaries following one another in succession. 2 marks, therefore, have upon the whole been deemed sufficient. So they're saying, well, we could make this very complicated, but that would just confuse you. So we're just employing very simple marks to show where to accent and where not to accent. And the reader is left to make a more delicate variation from his own judgment and taste, in which, however, he will be materially assisted by attention to the principles above explained. Few examples of the rules above given combined with one another follow. Let's see. Okay, now comes some examples, and I'll read these examples. But if somebody wants to join me on Discord, Mohammed, Pachu, anybody, that would be better, because this would be a time where we could practice not just pronouncing the words properly, but also the suggested intonation of the phrase. So I'll wait for somebody to say yes, but until then, I guess I'll just do it myself. Okay. Muhammad says he'll join. Okay. All right, Muhammad. I'm already on Discord right now, so if you just want to jump in. We'll start. Let me see. Let me open up the voice channel here. Okay, I'm on the voice channel, so let's see. Is that you? Hello?
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm fine. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Good. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the things. Now, I don't know if you were here in the beginning when we sort of established the rules, but can you see the words on the screen? Do you see the first phrase, the fair moon? Do you see that? The fair moon.
The fair moon shines brightly.
Okay. Now, do you know, what does that word fair mean? Do you know?
Full moon?
Fair, the word fair can mean beautiful or very nice. So
Okay.
when you say something is fair, it means several different things, but here it means beautiful or nice. Okay. So can you
Okay.
just read that first phrase?
The fair moon.
Okay. Now that word fair, fair. How many vowel sounds do you hear in that word? Fair, fair.
Two, two vowel sounds.
Okay. Can you say that word fair with the 2 vowel sounds?
Fair.
Fair. Can you say the 2 words together? The fair.
The fair.
Okay. How about the word moon? Moon. Is that a
Uh,
long vowel sound or a short vowel sound? Moon.
long.
Okay. Can you read that phrase again, paying attention to the length of the word fair and the word moon? The fair moon.
The fair moon.
Okay. Now you see that little mark above fair? What does that mean?
Long.
Okay, well, here, because this book is about practicing intonation. Okay, So this means it's an important word that must be pronounced more prominently, more clearly than the other two words. So the way that you want to read this is the fair moon.
Okay. The fair moon.
Okay, the fair moon. Don't forget that fair has two sounds in the inside. Fair. It's two vowel sounds.
The fair moon.
Okay, the fair moon. Now the you see the line that's next to moon? That means you must pause. That's one phrase. The fair moon, pause. Okay? And then we have another
Okay.
word. What is the next word?
Shines.
Okay. Shines. How many vowel sounds in the middle of that word? Shines.
Shines.
Sha
One vowel sound.
actually it's two. Ai. Ai. Ai.
Okay. Shines.
Shines, shines, shines.
Shines.
Okay. So, because we have that line in between moon and shines, we pause. The fair moon shines.
The fair moon shines.
Don't forget to pause. The fair moon
The
shines.
fair moon shines.
Okay, that's good. So we have two important words. We have fair and shines. Okay. What is the final word in that phrase?
Brightly.
Brightly. Brightly.
Brightly.
Is that a, what do you think about that vowel sound in the middle of brightly? Is that a big vowel sound or a little vowel sound?
Little.
Bright. So it's brightly or brightly? Which one?
Brightly. Long.
It's
It's
long.
long.
Yeah, that's a really long sound. Brightly. Second one, no, but the first sound, yes, is very long. Brightly.
Brightly.
Uh huh. Now, do you see the mark over the word brightly?
Yes.
Is it different from the other two marks?
Yes, it's from the right.
Okay, so we have three important words: fair, shine, and brightly. But because it's going in the other direction, that's a signal that this is the most important word in the sentence. So we have the fair moon shines brightly. That's the biggest word in the whole phrase.
The fair moon shines brightly.
Okay. Now you see the line in between moon and shines and bright. Is one of them longer or shorter?
The moon and shines is longer
Okay.
than the other line.
Okay, and that means you have to pause for a longer time. So the fair moon shines brightly.
The fair moon shines brightly.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the next phrase. Can you read the first phrase? What does it say?
The broad Ronnie's foaming channels proudly shone.
Okay. Now we have the word broad. Have you ever heard that word before? Do you know what that word means? Broad.
Broad means big.
Okay, yes, it means like wide. It means wide. If if I say that word very slowly, tell me how many vowel sounds you hear in the middle. Broad. Broad. How many sounds do you hear in the middle of that word?
Two.
I hear three. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Can you hear the three sounds?
Yes.
Can you repeat those three sounds? Oh, wow.
Broad.
Can you say
Broad.
oh, say oh, ah?
O, U, A.
Oa.
Oa.
Broad.
Broad.
Okay. Now, so we've got, and the next word is Rhone. Rhone. That's a river. That's the name of a river in Europe. Rhone. Can you,
Brown.
Rhone, how many sounds, how many vowel sounds do you hear in the middle of that word? Brone. Oh, sorry. Rhone. Rhone.
Think two.
Okay. What are those two sounds? Which two sounds do you hear?
O, A.
Oh,
Brown.
oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh.
O, U.
Mm-hmm. Roan, roan,
Brown.
roan, oon. Say oon.
Un.
Roan.
Brown.
Mm-hmm. The broad roans.
Broad. Brown.
Okay. What do those marks above the word broad and roan mean for reading, just for intonation? What does that mean?
Stressing these words.
Yes. So these are two important words. The broad roans. Can you say it, making sure to give special attention to both of those words?
The broad rounds.
Okay. Now the next two words, foaming channels. Do you know that word foam? Have you seen that word before?
Yes, for shaving.
Okay, that's true. What do you think it means if you're talking about a river or water?
The foam on the surface.
Okay. All right. And what does channels mean?
Like a little river.
Okay, that's right. Just like little baby rivers.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think about that word foaming? There are two vowel sounds, two syllables in there. Foaming. Are they big or little?
Big.
Both of them? Oh, eh. Oh, eh.
First one.
Okay. The first one is big and the second one is small. Can you say that word?
Yes. Foaming.
Foaming. Foaming. How about the next word?
Foaming.
Channels. Channels. What do you think about the vowel sounds in the next word?
Small.
Both? A, a.
First one is long.
Uh-huh. And the second one is small.
Second is small.
And that's a very typical basic rhythm of English. Big, small, foaming, channels.
Okay.
Can you say the two words together?
Foaming channels.
Okay, not channels, channels. Big, make it
Channels.
foaming. That's very typical rhythm of English. Foaming, channels.
Foaming channels.
Mhm. What does the line between roans and foaming, what does that mean?
Pause. Small pause.
Small pause. Okay, so we have the broad roans, foaming channels,
The broad runs forming channels.
channels.
Cha- channels.
Okay, and what are the next two words in that phrase?
Proudly shown.
Okay, now that word shown, what does that mean?
Shine.
You're right. You're right. Okay. Now, when I say that word, shown, how many vowel sounds do you hear in the middle? I'll say it very slowly. Shown, shown.
Two,
What are,
two vowel sounds.
what are the two vowel sounds that you hear?
Shown.
Oon,
O-A.
oon. Can you say oon?
Shown.
Shown,
On.
shown.
Shown.
Mm-hmm. Shown,
Sh-
shown.
shown.
Okay. Is that a big sound? Is that a long vowel sound or is that a short vowel sound?
Long.
Okay. How about proudly? Proudly. What kind of vowel sounds do you hear in that word? There are two syllables. Are they big sounds or little sounds?
Uh, proudly. First one is long and second short.
That's right. Proudly shown.
Proudly shown.
Okay, and what does that line between channels and proudly, what does that mean?
Pause.
Okay, is that a big pause or a little pause?
Big pause.
Okay, so the broad Rhone's foaming channels proudly shown.
The broad Rhone's foaming channels proudly shone.
Which is the most important word in that sentence, according to the marks that we have?
Broad Rhone's.
Uh, oh yeah, you know what? They all have equal importance. They all have very important. We have broad, roans, and proudly. So all three of those words are the most important words. So we have the broad, roans, foaming channels, proudly shown. Can you read that again?
The broad Rhone's foaming channels proudly shone.
Say the broad. Actually, wait. Let me. I think I want to put two words here because this is kind of important. Let me just bring something up here. Let's see. All right, I'm just creating a document here, and I'm typing up two words. Can you see the two words that? No, you can't. Wait, let me switch documents here. Can you see the two words that I have written on the video screen on YouTube?
Yes, I see.
Okay.
Proud and broad.
Okay. Uh, you know, it's how would you say number one? Pronounce number one
Proud.
and number two.
Broad.
Okay. Do you know these two letters, the letters that begin uh, the words, they're very very similar. You do very similar things with your mouth when you say number one or number two. But the only difference is that number one, you must push that out of your mouth. Proud. Okay, there's a big explosion of air coming out of your mouth. Proud. Can you try to cause an explosion from your mouth? Proud.
Uh, proud.
Again?
Proud.
See, I don't hear any air coming out of your mouth. That's the problem.
Proud.
It's like spitting it.
Proud.
It's like you've got to do that.
Proud.
Proud. Okay. But number two, it's the exact same letter, but instead of spitting it out, you eat it. Broad.
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 How do you say number one?
Proud.
I need to hear you spit out some more air.
Proud.
What if you pretend that there's an H here, like you have to pronounce an H? Because there needs to be some air coming out of your mouth when you do that. Proud.
Proud.
I think that I don't know why, but I think for some reason in Arabic you could pronounce an H and an R together like hra, hra. Can't you do that in Arabic? Do those two sounds exist together? Hra, as if you're saying an H and
Uh, H and R.
yeah. Can you say that together? Hra,
R.
hra, hra.
R.
Like put the H and the R together. Hra,
Ra.
hra, hra,
Ra. Ra.
hra. But I have to hear the H. I have to hear the air coming out. Hra,
Ra.
hra. Okay.
Ra.
So then you just put a P in front. Proud.
Proud.
That's good. Now I can hear it. Can you feel the air coming out of your mouth when you do that?
Proud. Yes.
Proud. That's what you need to pronounce the P. You need that. Pretend like there's an H after it. Proud.
proud,
More air.
proud,
That's better. But number two, there's no air because the air goes down instead of out. Broad.
proud.
Can you feel the difference between the two?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to the book here. Uh, let's see. Here we go. Okay. So we have the broad Rhone's foaming channels proudly shown.
The broad Rhône's foaming channels proudly shone,
Okay.
proudly shone.
All right. So these are, these are just the way that they practice in here is that uh, they use like little lines from poems or books, and so a lot of times they, because this is a very old book, this is like 170 years old, so they like to use quotations from the Bible. So I think the next part is from the Bible. uh, can you read up until the word wicked? So the curse of, and then to the word wicked.
Uh, the curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked.
Okay, do you know that word wicked? What does that word wicked mean?
Uh, wicked like full of witches,
Okay, well, evil.
magician.
Actually, yeah, but it just means evil, really.
Yes.
So a wicked person is an evil person. Okay. So we have the first two words, and then we have a line, which means we must pause. What are the first two words?
The curse of
Okay, but we have that line there, so we're not going to read of with curse. We're going to separate these into different phrases. Okay. So what are just the two first words?
the curse.
Okay. What do you think about that vowel sound in the word curse? Is that a long sound or a short sound? Curse.
Long,
It is long.
long
Now, what are the next three words?
of the Lord.
Okay. Now, if I say that word very slowly, tell me how many sounds you hear inside of this word. Lowered. How many sounds? Oh.
Three
Three. What are the three sounds that you hear?
word.
Ord. Ord. If you don't do that, this is why sometimes people have a difficult time being understood because they ignore all of these little sounds inside of the vowel. Lord.
Lord
Of the Lord.
of the Lord.
Okay, so we have the first phrase, the curse, and then a pause, of the Lord.
The curse of the Lord.
And according to this, which are the two, in these two phrases, what are the very important words? The words we must focus on.
Curse and the Lord.
Okay, so, and which one is stronger, curse or Lord? Which one has the most
Lord. Lord.
Actually, it would be curse. It would be curse.
Okay.
And I think they mentioned that. They explain that in the passages. They said when you have this possessive of blank of the blank, the first word gets the emphasis. They call it the governing word. So so we say the curse of the Lord.
The curse of the Lord.
Hmm. So one is stronger than the other, and that's curse. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, can we go back? Where was that? When, see, this is what they were explaining earlier. When one noun governs another in the possessive, the noun governed. Oh wait. Well, that doesn't make sense. They're doing the opposite of what they said. Carries, so the curse of the Lord. That's funny. Okay, well, they're contradicting themselves. Oh, no, I read the marks wrong. No, no, that's right. The curse of the Lord. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Okay, so let's go back. The curse of the Lord. And then how will you read the next two words?
is in.
Okay, and what do those two lines mean?
The curse of the Lord is in.
What do those two lines and the line in front of is and what do and the line?
A, two poses
Okay, so the curse of
to
the
to
Lord.
say
Go ahead.
Lord is in
The curse of the Lord is in, and then what are the next two words?
the house of
Okay, but there's a let's stop at house because there's a line between house and of. So we have the curse of the Lord is in is in the house of. That's weird the way they have it written here. Can you read it?
the curse of the Lord is in the house of
Okay. Okay. Is in the house of the wicked. Of the
the
wicked.
house of the wicked.
Okay. And is wicked, is that an important word?
Yes,
Okay. How will you pronounce that word again?
wicked.
If I say the beginning of that word very slowly, how many vowel sounds do you hear? Wicked, wicked, wicked.
Two.
What are the two sounds that you hear?
E wicked.
Ooh, ooh, e, ooh, e,
O e
ooh, ooh,
wi-
wicked.
wicked.
Ooh, so that word wicked starts with an ooh sound. Ooh, wicked, ooh, wicked.
Wicked.
Hmm. So the curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked.
The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked.
Okay. And then what are the next two words and how would you read them?
But he,
Okay, but then we have a long line. So but and then
but
mhm, but he and then what is that next word?
leases,
I'm sorry, what?
leases,
Blesses.
leases,
Blesses.
places.
Yeah, so this is older English. It says blesseth, but it's really in contemporary English it would be blesses with an S. So we'll just we'll read it the way it's written, but that should be blesses. What does that word bless mean?
Like God bless you.
Like gives you a favor, I guess, or likes you,
Yes.
something like that. Okay, so but he blesseth.
But he blesses
Mhm. And now, what are the next two words?
the habitation
What
of the just.
what does habitation mean?
Habitation is like you get justice in your heart.
Have okay. The word habit. I guess you know some French because I noticed before you were saying, "Oh, this is a French word for this, and this is a French word for that." Right? Do you know a little bit of French?
I can remember when I learned it from school.
Okay. All right. Well, do you remember the word habit? Habit.
Habitation, habit,
Uh-huh. What does
No.
that? Oh, that means live.
Uh,
Like j'habite à Paris. I live in Paris, right? Habite means to live.
yes, I know habitation is like habitation of the wildlife. I see it in this context.
Okay, so that what that means is the place where you live or your
Okay,
house. You could. It's like a super fancy way of saying house.
okay.
Okay, so he blesses the habitation. What does what does that mean?
It means in your heart.
Okay, could be, could be. Depends on how abstract you want to be, but yeah, all right. What does the word just mean here? Just.
Justice.
I'm sorry, what?
Justice.
Justice. All right. Okay, so people who are fair, people who are good, people who are right. All right. So we have the habitation of the just.
The habitation of the just.
Okay, which word is more? Both habitation and just, according to the marks here, are important. Which one is more important, habitation or just, according to the marks?
Ju- just.
Okay, that's right. So how will you say those? Let's say the five words together. The habitation of the just.
The habitation of the just.
Hmm. All right. So, but he blesseth the habitation of the just.
But he blesses the habitation of the just.
So we have the curse of the Lord
The curse of the Lord
is in.
is, is
Mhm.
in the house of the wicked, but he blesses the habitation of the just.
Okay. And now, when you're saying the
Can
word,
I
go ahead.
can I know what is the curse of the Lord?
Oh, that means like,
Like like he is angry from people?
yes, that's exactly what it means. Like, earlier you said something about witches. What do witches do? What do they do to you? Do they do bad things or good things to you?
Bad things.
Yeah, and the way that they do it, I don't know, they say words and they do rituals or something. This is a witch's curse. The curse is when you feel hate or you try to do bad things to people because they're angry with you. So God is angry with the people who are bad, and he will let bad things happen to them. But he gives favors to people who are very just. Does that make sense?
Is this from the Bible?
It might be. It seems like it. Most of these passages are from poems or stories, and this definitely sounds like it's from the Bible. One, because it's using older English, and two, just because of the theme. So it probably is somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly where. It's a big book.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. We have. Uh, can you read the first? Read up into the semicolon.
Trust in the Lord within all thine heart.
Okay. Now it would be better. I've noticed that when you have a th, you like to pronounce it like a z, and so you say zine. But it would be much better if you pretend it's a d. That would sound much closer to the actual thing. All thine. Can you say that? Like, that's an old word for you. All your heart. All your heart. But how would you
Uh, uh, Pronounce it like all thine,
say it again?
thine,
Say it
uh,
again.
all thine heart,
Yeah, it's better if you pronounce it like a d. All thine heart.
all thine heart.
That's better. Yeah, instead of zine, it sounds much closer. The only difference
Okay.
between saying the and da is the position of your tongue. So if you say da, your tongue is back here. But if you say the, your tongue is under your teeth. The. That's the only difference.
Okay.
The. Okay, so we have
Uh,
trust in the Lord. Okay. Can you read that phrase again? Trust in the Lord.
Trust in the Lord,
And now, is there a
all
pause? Is
the
is there a pause in that phrase? Trust in the Lord. Where's the pause?
trust in.
Okay, so there should be a pause there. Trust in the Lord.
But why they don't respect connected speech?
So when
Hello?
when something is written, we use punctuation, sometimes commas and periods and things like that, and those are usually signals to pause. But
Yeah, I mean, in today's English, we say trust in
uh,
the Lord with
oh well, the reason so
no,
it's not
no.
this is these marks. These are extra marks to help you speak better. And what they're trying to show
Okay.
you here, there are two ways where you could make. So this is not how you would write it. Okay, these are suggestions on how to phrase it. And so even back then, it would just be trust in the Lord with all thine heart, just like that. But they're trying to help you improve your style, trying to help you uh, focus on special words or special phrases. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, because trust is a very important word, there are two ways that you can make it seem special. You can make the vowel sound longer, trust. Okay? But another thing you can do is separate it from the other words, and that's why the pause is there. To really make you focus on that one word. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's just a style. It's not something you have to do, but it's a suggestion to make the words you're saying more powerful. Is that pretty clear?
Yes.
Okay, that's why you don't have to do that. I'm just insisting that you follow these rules because for two reasons. One, a lot of people want to improve their intonation, and this is part of what that process is. But also, people who want to make a recording doing audiobooks or something will also find these useful to highlight or focus on a word. Is that pretty clear?
Yes. Clear.
Okay. So that's why you don't have to, but I'm making you because that's the point of this book. Trust in the Lord. Can you say it like that?
Trust in trust in the Lord.
Okay.
In
And
the Lord.
yeah, say da. Don't say za. It would be much better if you say da than za. Trust in the
Okay.
Lord.
Trust in the Lord.
Now, there are two important words in that phrase, in those two phrases. Which are the important words?
Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord.
Da, 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 like a D. And which one is more important?
Lord.
According to the mark and according to the marks used, which word is more important?
Lord.
No, I think that trust is the mark going up like that. I think is the important one, and the let me maybe I'm getting confused. Let me go back and look at the. I'm pretty sure though. Okay,
Yes.
51.
It's a trust. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so that word should get more attention than the word Lord here. So how would you say that if you made those two words important, but trust is more important? How should you say it?
Trust in the Lord.
Okay, trust in the Lord. So you hear how one
Tr-
is bigger than the other. Trust in the Lord. They're both big, but one is bigger.
yes.
Try again.
Trust in the Lord.
Okay, trust in the Lord. Okay, and what is the next phrase?
With all thine heart.
Yeah.
With all thine heart.
So that's just older English. It means all your heart, with all of your heart. All right. And let's see, the word all. All. What do you think? Is that a big sound? All.
All long,
Okay.
big sound.
How about the word heart? Heart. Is that big?
Heart, small.
So it's heart or heart? Which one? Heart or
Uh,
heart?
second, heart.
So it's long. It's a pretty big sound, actually.
Oh,
So we have our big small, big small, big small pattern with all thine heart.
with all thine heart.
Okay. So we have trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
Okay. But again, when you have that th sound, it's probably better to make a d sound than the sound that you're making. It would be closer to what it should be. All thine, all thine.
All thine,
Hmm. With all thine.
with all thine,
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
with all thine heart.
Okay. And what are the next three words that we have?
Uh, and lean not to
Oh,
thine own understanding.
what is that word lean? What does that mean? Lean.
Not not do, don't do.
Not, I'm sorry, not what?
Like don't lean to bad things.
But
Don't do bad things.
what does the word lean mean?
Lean like lean on the pillow.
Can you repeat that, please?
Like for example, don't lean to bad things.
Yeah, but so lean means like instead of being straight, like going in this direction or going in that direction. You see these people are leaning. Don't move in this direction. Don't point yourself in that direction. Does that make sense? Can you see the pictures on the screen? Don't
Yes,
lean this way. Don't go this way. Does that make sense to you?
yes.
Okay. All right. So trust in the Lord with all thine heart. And what do you think about that word lean? Is that a really long sound?
Lean, long sound.
Lean. Okay. So again we have small, big, small. And lean not. And lean not.
And lean not.
Hmm. Make lean longer and lean not.
And lean not.
Yeah. So you see this it's very important to make the sound very long. Okay. Can you read all of the words up to the word not?
Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not.
Okay. Uh, and then we have our final one. This means to your own understanding, to your own way of thinking. So don't do what you think is good. Do what you think God says is good. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you read that final phrase again? To thine own understanding.
Not done to thine not own understanding.
Okay.
To,
Now,
to thine own understanding.
and what are the important words in that phrase? To thine own understanding.
Understanding.
Any other important words or just understanding?
Just understanding.
But what about the word own?
Own, yes, yes, sorry.
Okay, so there are two
To
important words. There's own and understanding. And according to the marks, which word is more important?
own,
Okay. So how will you read those two words together?
own understanding.
Okay. Uh, own or own?
own understanding,
Own is very long. It's a very long sound. Own understanding.
own understanding,
To thine own understanding.
own understanding,
Can you read all four words? To thine own understanding.
to thine own understanding.
All right, so we have trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding.
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding.
Okay, that's good. All right. We have some more practice here. All right. Can you read let's read the entire line here, starting with wisdom to understanding.
Wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all they getting, get understanding.
Okay. So let's start with the word wisdom. Wisdom. Can you say that word again?
Wisdom,
What vowel sound when you have a word that starts with a W? What is the vowel sound that it starts with?
oh,
Not O, but
wisdom,
ooh, ooh,
oh, oh,
wisdom, wisdom.
wi- wisdom.
Hmm. Yeah, if you don't say that ooh, I don't hear that letter. I hear isdom, and it could be a little bit confusing. It's ooh isdom with an ooh.
Okay, wisdom
Okay, what are the next four words?
is a principal thing.
Okay, that word. Can you say that word principle? Principle.
Principal,
You try to push out more air when you say pre, pre,
pres, principal,
principle. Spit. You have to spit. Principle.
principal.
Principle. Okay. And is that an important word? Principle.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say the three words together. We've got two unimportant words, is the, and then we've got a big important word, principle. Is the principle.
Uh, wisdom, wisdom is a principle.
Okay. Wisdom is the principal thing.
Wisdom is a principal thing.
Okay. And we've got wisdom, that's also an important word. Is it, do you agree?
Yes.
Which one is more important, wisdom or principle?
Uh, principle.
Okay. Can you say bull? Bull? Bull?
Uh, oh, oh,
Bull? Principle.
uh, principle.
Okay. Wisdom is the principal thing. Make principle more important than the word wisdom.
Wisdom is a principal thing.
Okay. Recuerdo says probably more important is where you should stress the pronunciation. Well, recuerdos, we're practicing intonation according to the rules laid out by the book to be better readers. So if you have to take a reading test, or if you just want better pronunciation inside of a phrase, that might be a little bit different from just pronouncing individual words. All right. What is the next word, Mohammed?
Therefore,
Okay. Where's the accent in that word?
is what?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
You can you repeat
Oh,
what is important?
which syllable would get the emphasis on that word?
Oh, okay, okay. Therefore,
Okay.
first syllable.
Now, if I say that word there very slowly, how many sounds do you hear? There. How many
The
sounds in the middle? There.
two, two,
Two. What are the two sounds that you hear?
air,
Air, air, air,
air,
air. And is that a really big sound or is that a very small sound? There.
big sound.
It is a big sound. How about the word for? How many vowel sounds do you hear inside that syllable? Oh, for, for,
Four, one,
for.
one sound.
It might even be three, but let's just say two. Oh, ooh, oh, ooh, for.
Four,
Actually, it's really oh,
two.
for, for.
Okay.
And which syllable in that word therefore, which syllable gets the accent?
The first one.
Okay, so that must be bigger than the second one, right? Therefore,
Yes.
therefore.
Therefore,
hmm So wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore,
wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore,
okay. And then we have the word get all alone. Get. Is that an important word? Get.
it. Yes.
Okay, so how should you say it if you want it to be very important? We've got the two pauses. Therefore, pause.
Therefore, get wisdom.
hmm Therefore, get wisdom.
Therefore, get wisdom.
Okay, so we have wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And okay, and then we have a we have another phrase here. Can you read the final phrase?
With and with all they get understanding.
Okay, so that's kind of confusing. But so with all thy getting, thy just means your. It's an older word for your. Okay. So with all your getting, with all of your getting things, receiving things, okay. Uh what are the two important words in this phrase with all thy getting?
Was all thy
Mhm.
getting and understanding.
Okay. Also, well, let's just focus on these four words with all thy getting, with all thy getting. Which two words are important?
All, all and getting.
Okay, and then so we have our big, small pattern. With all thy getting,
With all thy getting.
mhm, you hear that? So with all thy getting,
With all thy getting.
wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting,
Wisdom is a principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding.
okay, but you might want to pause. Therefore, get wisdom.
Therefore get wisdom.
Maybe you want to make a pause between therefore and get. Therefore, long pause, get
Uh,
wisdom.
I have, I have, I have a problem with internet, so can I have 1 minute to fix the screen?
Oh, sure. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, Pachu is
I
here.
will
I
be
didn't.
back.
Uh, Pachu, are you still here? I didn't see you. Maybe not. I don't know. Let me know when you're ready, Mohammed. Okay, so let's repeat this. Wis- wisdom is the principal thing. Uh, oh, okay. I heard a noise, but I didn't know. I still don't. Wait, is Pachu here? Let's see this. Mohammed. Oh yeah, Pachu is here. But I don't. Hello, I don't hear you. If you're talking, I don't hear you. Well, anyway, I'm going to take a 1 minute break. I'll be right back. And then maybe Pachu would also like to join us. Oh, hi, Pachu. I'll just be right back in 1 minute. I can hear you. Okay, I'm back. So I don't know what you saw, Pachu, but maybe this would be a good time to review what we're doing.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, can you
Hello,
see?
sir.
Hello. Can you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So
Yes.
so what we've learned so far, I don't know when you joined us, so I'll just explain what we've been doing. Okay. Is the book has introduced a couple of different marks or a couple of different ways to focus on a special word in your phrase. Okay. One way could be to pause. All right. Can you see the phrase at the top of the screen? Wisdom is the principal thing.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yes.
Actually,
Wisdom is the principal.
uh okay. Actually, let's.
Yes.
We already did that, so let's start a new one. Okay. Uh,
Yes.
in this next phrase, if any of you, okay, do you see any words that have a special mark?
Yeah. Yes. Any.
Okay, and that mark, it's pointing up to the right. Okay, that means it's a very important word. Okay, they gave some
Yeah.
rules in the beginning of the chapter of how to select important words. Okay, so we won't go back and review that now, but uh, that because it's moving up to the right, it's a very important word. So, how would you say those
Yes.
four words together?
See, if any of you,
Okay. And how do you, if any is a very important word, how will you make the vowel sound even bigger?
if any of you,
Okay. So if and of you, they'll be very small. If any of you,
if any of you,
mhm.
any of you,
Okay. Now you see that line next to you? The line.
yeah, this is the dash. This
Uh,
is the, yeah, the lack,
yeah,
lack.
this is actually like a double dash actually. So it's not just a dash, it's a double one. That means a long pause. Okay, so if you see one,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. So the dashes are two types. One is short and another is long.
That's right.
This is also called the im, desk or index, something like that. Yeah.
It's called what?
Desk.
E
Desk.
M dat? I don't know. I'm
Yeah. Em.
familiar with that.
Yeah. So some writers write long dash,
Mm-hmm.
im dash, and another is short dash. Uh,
Oh, I've never
so
heard that.
they have special names.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we'll just
Yes.
say double dash. That sounds better. Double dash. So, uh,
Yes.
so that,
Double dash.
that means
Okay.
a long pause. So, if any of you long pause and then say the next two words, what are the next two words?
Is a is a lack wisdom.
Okay. Lack wisdom. Okay. Can you see the word lack? It has another mark, but it's facing the other way. It's pointing to the left, right? Do you see that? It's different from any. Can you see?
Yes. Lack.
Okay. That means it's an important word, but it's not as important as any or wisdom. So if it's pointing to the right, that means it's a very important word. Give it a lot of emphasis. And if it's pointing to the left, going up to the left, that means give it a little emphasis. So, for example, these two words, lack wisdom. So, wisdom is more important. Lack is important, but it's not as important as the word wisdom. Lack wisdom.
Oh, yes. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, lack wisdom. Yeah,
Yeah.
lack wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Lack is important, but it's not as
Mm,
important as wisdom. Lack wisdom.
yes. Lack wisdom.
So,
Lack wisdom.
so any is important, very important. Wisdom is very important, and lack is important, but not so much, not as much as the other two words.
Not so much.
Yeah. If any of
Yes.
you lack wisdom,
If any of you lack wisdom,
let him. Okay, read the next phrase. What is the next phrase? Where's the next?
okay. So let him let him ask of
Oh,
God. God.
okay. So now, what is in that phrase? Let him ask. What is the important word in that phrase?
Yeah. So let him ask.
Okay,
Yeah.
ask is important. Is it super important or just important?
Yeah. No,
Hello. Uh-oh. Pachu is just
yes, sir.
okay.
Yeah. Not in. Yeah. Not super.
Not super. It's important, but not super important. How about the word God? Is that according to the marks on this word
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
important or not so important?
Yes. Yeah. He says it's super important.
Okay, so let him ask of God.
Let him ask of God.
Okay, but now there's a little dash there, so actually we should pause for a second. Let him ask of God.
Let him ask of God.
Okay. So let's try that from the beginning. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God.
If any of lack wisdom, let him ask of God.
Okay, and then we have that giveth. Now, that word giveth, that's just an older way of saying give. Okay, so this is just a kind of older English, that's all. So, that giveth.
That giveth.
Hmm. And is that, do you see any important words marked in that phrase? That giveth.
Okay, so giveth is not super important,
But it's
but yes,
it gives some emphasis.
important. Yeah,
So, the
yeah.
giveth.
That giveth.
To
Is this book written, sir?
go ahead. Is it what?
eh, Is this book written during Shakespeare time or
No, no, no.
later?
This book is written about 170 years ago. Shakespeare would be about 400 years ago. Shakespeare would be more difficult to understand. But the reason the language here is a little bit strange is uh, what they're doing is they're setting up some rules. They're saying, okay, one line means a little pause, two lines means a big pause. This accent mark
Yes, yes.
kind of important, and this accent means really important. And now they're just practicing. So they're taking passages from books. This is just, I think this might be from the Bible.
Mm,
So this is not part of the book. This is just something to read to practice the rules that they have given us. Do you
okay,
understand?
yeah, okay. Yes, yes,
So this is just for
yes.
practice. This is they've explained the rules and now they're saying, okay, practice it. Is that pretty
Yeah,
clear?
yeah, yeah.
And
Yes, sir. Yes, because
they
I
use the Bible a lot, but also poetry and other things. So um, that's
yes,
why it sounds
yes,
a little bit strange.
yes, yes.
But in the instructions, they don't use very strange language. It should be easy to understand the instructions. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
so as long as you don't mind reading some passages from the Bible, then I think we're okay.
No, sir, I I like no, I like all. I want to know all things in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back, and we've got the giveth, and then we have another phrase. What is the next phrase?
So to is all man
Okay.
is all man, all
Mohammed
man.
is back. Can you join? Of course, Mohammed. Just jump in. You're welcome to join whenever you want. All right. So in that phrase, to all men, what is the important?
Yeah,
What is the really important word there?
yeah. Oh, yeah. This is all.
Okay. So how should you pronounce all if it's a very important word?
So is the all men
Yeah.
is
Well, you see, men is
all
all men.
men.
Men is not important. It's just all. So to all men,
Yeah, is all men.
to all men. So men is not important.
Yeah.
It's all to all men.
No. Yes. It's all men.
Okay. And Mohammed, are you here now? Are you back? Can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay. Can you? How would you say
yes,
that phrase? To all men.
to all men.
So that's the important word, and it's super important. You can tell by the accent mark. That's a very important word. To all men, like that. Okay.
To
And
all
then
men.
what is the next word, Mohammed? Can you read the next word?
uh, Liberally.
Okay. How many syllables are in that word? Liberally. Liber.
Liber, liberally. Three.
Some people might make it three. Liberally. It's possible to make it three. So some people will say liberally with four syllables, liberally. And some people will say three syllables, liberally. Liberally. I don't know how I would say it. I think I might do either one. Okay. But where is the important syllable?
First one.
Oh,
Liberally.
okay, so you make it bigger, you make it longer. Liberally.
Liberally.
Pachu, can you say that again?
Uh,
Go ahead. What?
is is that word
Yeah.
like the political word liberals?
It is like the political word, but what does that word mean? Do you know what that word means?
Uh, from liberty, uh,
So
freedom.
it means free, but here, like, especially, it's really combined with the verb to give here. So he's saying God gives liberally. That means God gives freely, generously. It means generous here. It doesn't really mean freedom.
Okay.
So if you have give and liberal together, that means like generous.
Okay.
Okay, so but let's start from the beginning again. So we have, if any of you, Pachu, can you say that? If any of you,
If any of you
okay, lack wisdom.
is lack wisdom,
Muhammad, can you read that line? If any of you lack wisdom.
If any of you lack wisdom,
Okay. No, but lack is an important word. It has that little mark on it. So you should maybe try to give it a little bit more attention. Lack wisdom.
if any of you lack wisdom,
And wisdom is super important. It's more important than the word lack. So it's lack wisdom.
if any of you lack wisdom,
hmm Can you say view, view, view,
view,
a view,
view,
a view?
of you, of you,
If any of you lack wisdom.
if any of you lack wisdom,
Okay. Pachi, what is the next phrase? Can you say the next phrase?
yeah, let let him ask of God.
Okay. Now, that word let, it's always combined with another thing. Let him, let her, let us. You don't see it too much alone. Well, at least in suggestions or commands, you don't really see it without some kind of pronoun. So those two words would be pronounced probably like one word. Let him, let him, let him.
Let him, let him, let
Let
him,
him ask. Let him ask.
let him ask.
Muhammad, how will you read that? Let him ask.
let him ask,
Okay, let him ask of God.
let him ask of God.
Okay. Can you say that, Pachu?
Okay, sir. Let him ask of God
Mm-hmm. That giveth to all men liberally.
that giveth
To do the whole thing to liberally.
to to all men liberally,
Okay, liberally. Liberally. That's an important word. Liberally.
liberally,
Yeah.
liberally,
To all men liberally.
to all men liberally.
Okay, can you try that, Muhammad? Same thing. Let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally.
Let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally.
Okay, now liberally, according to the marks on that word, is that an important word?
Okay. Let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally.
Okay, what would be better to say, giveth or giveth?
Give it
Yeah,
to all men liberally.
liberally, liberally. That's an important word. Make the accented syllable longer.
To all men liberally.
Liberally. Okay. Now, we have a weird word in the next phrase, which I think I know, but let me just check the meaning. Upbraid. That's not a very common word, but I think it means like to criticize or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, to criticize or scold. I think we talked about the word scold the other day actually, but upbraid, that means you're bad, you're no good. It's not a very common word. Uh, so and upbraideth not. And upbraideth not. What is the most important word in that phrase? Upbraideth not. Pachu or Muhammad? Anybody? What is the most?
Upbraid.
What does that mean? Upbraid.
Upbraid means criticize.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not common. You don't have to worry about remembering that. You might never see it again. But what is the big syllable in that word? Upbraid.
A first syllable.
Oh, so it's upbraid.
No, it's upgrade.
Oh, so it's the second syllable. Braid.
Second syllable.
How many sounds in the middle of that syllable? A.
Two sounds.
What are the two sounds that you hear?
A.
A, A, and it's really long. So you have. If I just say the vowel sounds, A, A. Can you hear how long that second sound is? A.
Yes. Upgrades.
Mm-hmm. Upbraideth not.
Upgrade is not.
Okay, Panchu, can you say that phrase? Upbraideth not. Hello, Pachu, are you there? I think Pachu has disappeared. Okay, he'll come back eventually.
Yes.
Oh, are you there, Pachu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you say that phrase? And upbraideth not.
Upbraideth not. Upbraideth
Oh,
not.
okay. How many sounds do you hear in the middle of that word? A, braid, a. How many sounds do you hear?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it two and last one?
Oh,
Three.
all right. So, and now if I say just the vowel sounds, are they long or short sounds? A.
Yeah. E. A. E.
Uh-huh.
A. E.
Upbraid,
E.
upbraid.
Yeah. E is long.
Can you say it? Pronounce it. Upbraid.
Up. Upbraid.
Hmm.
Upbraid.
Yeah.
Braid.
Upbraideth not. What does that word mean? Upbraid. What does that mean?
No, I do not
That's
know.
like to criticize or to say bad things against someone because they did something bad. You did that. You're wrong. You're bad. Sort of that thing. Like
Okay.
maybe if your children do something bad, you say, "Don't do that. That's bad. Stop doing that." That's upbraiding.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He is now watching uh, some videos on mobile.
And so you said, "Stop doing that." So you're up,
Yes.
but it's not a terribly common word. You may never see that word again. So it's not important to remember it. Okay, just so we understand the meaning
Okay.
of what we're reading. Upbraid
Yes.
means like don't criticize. Upbraideth not means don't criticize. Okay. Can you read that full phrase? And upbraideth not.
Up. Upbraideth not.
Okay.
Upbraideth not.
Okay. And what is the final phrase in that sentence? Can you read it, Pachu? What does it say?
A- and it shall be given him. It
Okay.
shall be given him.
Okay. And is and an important word here in this phrase? And should you read it like that, do you think? Is that a good idea? And it shall be given him.
No. No. No.
How does,
No.
how does and
And
sound if it's not a very important word? How does it sound?
and it. And it.
Okay, but we have
And
to,
it.
according to the rules, we have to pause. So we'll just say mm. And well, maybe and. Let's say and but not so big. And it shall be given him.
Okay. And it shall be given him.
Okay.
Given him.
How do you say shall if you whistle when you say it? Shall.
Shall.
Okay.
Shall.
That's good.
Shall.
That's much better than before. Okay. How will you read the three words it shall be together?
So it it shall be. shall be given him.
Okay.
Shall be. It
Now,
shall be given him.
shall, that vowel sound, shall. Is that a big sound? Ah, shall. Is that a big vowel sound? Is that long?
Yes.
Okay, but in the middle of a phrase, it's kind of like the word can. You know, if you say the word can, that it's very big. But in the middle of a sentence, it's kun, kun. It's nothing. Kun.
Can.
So it shall be,
Yes.
it shall be, it shall be.
Okay. It shall be. It
Shall,
shall be. It
shall,
shall be.
shall be. It shall be.
It shall be. It shall be.
What is the important word in that phrase?
A is a given. Is a
Given.
given. Given.
How will you say the word given and him together?
So given him.
Give,
Given him.
given him.
Given him.
Given him. Given him.
Yeah. Yeah. Given him.
Yeah.
Given him.
Okay, but don't go up. Don't say given him. Go down instead. Given him. Go down instead of up.
Oh, so given him.
Give,
Given him.
given him. So start high. Given him. And go down.
Given him. Given him.
That's better. I think that Indian languages are kind of the opposite of English. You like to go up, and we like to go down.
Yes, yeah, it is some culture because we did a very long time
Hmm.
doing this, so it is hard to remove from our habit.
Yeah,
But
it's
I think
true though.
I will be a good long as a speaker
Hmm.
one day due to this class. I'm sure. I'm yeah.
Okay, can you say the whole phrase? It shall be given him.
It it shall be given him. It
Give.
shall be given him.
Just don't
Shall
forget that given is a very important word. So you say given him.
it shall be given him. Given him.
It shall be.
Given him. Given him.
Muhammad, can you say that? Can you say that phrase? It shall be given him.
And it shall be given him.
It shall be. It shall be. It shall be.
It shall be given him.
Okay, but it's okay if you want to say shall. But for being able to listen, or if you want to sound a little bit natural, you have to understand that a word like shall in the middle of a phrase becomes shall, or the word can becomes kun. So it can be given him. It shall be given him. It's not it shall be given him. That's okay. That's very clear if you do that. But even just for understanding when people are talking, you should understand the way that these things become very small.
It it shall be given him.
Yeah. So the only big, really the only big vowel sound that we have in this entire phrase is I and G. So it shall be given him. It shall be given him.
It shall be given him.
That's how it sounds, and that's very different from "it shall be given him," which is what you want. But if you're watching a movie or listening to people talk, you will never hear that unless they're angry. It shall be given him. Then maybe, but not in a regular conversation. Okay. Uh, so Mohammed, let's look at the next line. Can you read from the word but to faith?
But let him ask in faith,
Okay. And we have,
nothing wavering.
okay. Well, let's stop at wavering then. So we have, but let him ask. Okay. Are there any important words in that phrase?
Ask and face.
Okay. Now, this is why I'm just going to change documents for here for a second. Okay. So I'm just putting up on the screen. Let's switch. But this is why I'm telling you that I think it's better if you pronounce the th like a D or a T instead of the way that you're doing it. Because can you see the two words that I have written up here?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. There's a little delay. Sometimes it takes a few seconds before it appears. Let me know when it appears. Do you
It's not appearing.
no still no? Okay. Well, I'll just I'll write it in the Discord chat. Okay, so we'll put number one.
Now it's appearing.
Okay, so how do you say number one? How do you pronounce number one?
Face,
Okay, but also let's before we talk about the ending, let's talk about that vowel sound in the middle. It's two sounds. Face, a. Can you say that paying attention
a,
to both of the sounds? Phase,
face,
phase. And how do you say number two?
faith.
Okay, that's better. Now it's kind of clear the way you're. But before, it sounded like you were saying the word face. It sounded like you said number one. Say number one again.
Is,
Say number two.
faith.
Yeah, you have to push your tongue between your teeth. That's the only difference. If you say face, your tongue is kind of back a little bit. But if you say faith, you're sticking your tongue out and you're biting your tongue. Faith, faith.
We have this letter in Arabic, but we rarely use it.
Oh, really? So now's your
Yes.
opportunity to use it because you have to in English to sound uh, clear. It's a pretty
Yeah.
common sound.
Yes.
Okay, but it makes a difference because it sounds like you're saying a different word. Okay, so let's see. Uh, so ask in faith. Ask, pause, and faith. Can you say that?
Can we get the screen again?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So first, you could just repeat after me though. Ask in faith.
Ask and faith.
Hmm. And those two words, let and him, those often occur together. How do you think they sound when people are talking?
Uh, uh, give him words.
Let him. How would you pronounce the two words
Uh,
him together?
let him.
Let him. Let him. Let him. Let him.
Let him.
Okay, and those are not important words. So if we combine those three words together, we have let him ask. Let him ask.
Let them ask.
Hmm. So you almost don't even hear those two words. Let him ask, but you hear ask very clearly. Say,
Yes. Let them ask.
but let him ask in faith.
But let them ask in faith.
Okay, so we say our two important words, ask and faith. The other ones you don't hear very clearly, but let him ask in faith. Pachu,
But
can you read that phrase?
Okay, sir. Okay. So, but let him ask in faith.
Okay. How many sounds do you hear in the middle of that word? Faith. Faith.
AE.
That's right. Faith.
Two sound.
Can you say the word but try to pronounce both of the sounds?
Faith.
That's better.
Faith.
That's better. Let him ask in faith.
Let him ask in faith.
Okay. Now let's move on to the next phrase here. Okay, then we have nothing wavering. Nothing wavering. The word waver, to me, that means I'm just going to check because I never trust my definitions. But the word waver to means like hesitate
Okay.
or dismiss. Let's see.
with no wavering confidence.
Can you repeat that, Mohammed?
With no wavering confidence.
With no confidence, nothing wavering.
Wavering, no, with no wavering confidence is it's like fixed confidence.
Well, if you say with no wavering confidence, that means like no. To me, that means like hesitation, with no hesitation of
with wavering, I see it when wavering money from your bill,
Oh, I'm sorry, can you repeat?
or if you have to pay a fee, so they say you the fee is wavering, so
Oh,
they removed it.
yeah, yeah. If you waiver a fee, that means normally you charge a fee, but you're saying, forget it. Don't we're not going to ask you for a fee. So that means normally there's a fee, but they're not charging you. But here, I would say that waiver. See, to me, it means like hesitating, but I'm trying to relinquish, renunciation, surrender, disclaim, release. Yeah, okay, let's say without throwing away without throwing away, what was it? Now I'm lost. He that wavereth. Okay, so what do you think, like, if you have faith, if you believe in a religion and you have faith in God, that makes sense, right? You understand that phrase, to have faith in God.
Yes,
But but
no
if
wavering face.
but if you have faith, not face, faith. But
Okay,
but if you have wavering faith, I mean, in this context, what that means is like you're doubting God. It's like
yes,
you're taking away your faith a little bit. Does that make sense?
yes, makes sense.
So that's why we have this phrase, he that wavereth, he who hesitates, who has doubts in God or in faith. Does that make sense, Pachu? Do you understand the line? Pachu has disappeared. Oh, there he is. I hear him now. Can you do you understand that line? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, yes.
All right. So now we have for. Now here this word for means like because. Okay, so it's very similar to saying because he that wavereth. So, but we'll just read for because that's the word here. What are the Pachu? What are the important words in for he that wavereth according to the text that we're reading? What are the important words?
So he,
Mm-hmm. And
yeah, for he that wavereth,
what do,
wave, wave,
what word waver? That word waver. What is the sound in the beginning of the word? Which sound does it start with?
way,
Ooh. It starts.
a.
It actually no. It starts with ooh. Ooh waver. When you see a W at the
Okay,
beginning of a word, that always you should start that with ooh. Ooh waver.
okay. Waver, waver,
Wa-
waver,
waver. Okay. What does that mean
waver.
to waver? What does that mean in this context? If you waver in your beliefs or you waver in your faith, what does that mean?
Yeah, means the trust.
Well, it means like the opposite of trust. It means like don't trust anymore. Like it means that you're losing your belief, you're losing your faith.
Okay.
So it's the opposite. So this is a warning. They're warning you. They're saying he that wavereth, he who loses his faith, right? He who stops believing. Does that make sense?
Yes, but wavereth word has come from wavering. Is the same
This
but different forms.
yes, this eth, this th ending is an older type of English. We don't use it anymore. So you only see it like if you're reading Shakespeare or the Bible or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know, writing. Although people like that. So if they want to sound romantic or poetic or something, sometimes they use it just to sound more interesting. But not normal people.
Yeah, for example, the word thy they must use in poems nowadays also.
They could, and then it just makes it sound more interesting or more uh, because these words, this type of vocabulary is associated with the Bible and Shakespeare. it sounds more beautiful or more authoritative or something like that. So sometimes people use it if they want to sound more interesting, more beautiful.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
So let's see. So we have for let's see, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth, let's read that. Panchu, can you read that? Nothing wavering. For he that wavereth,
Okay. Nothing wavering for for he that wavereth.
okay, now this is it's very important to pay attention to the vowel sounds. If they're big or small, or if they have several sounds in the middle. And I think you're ignoring that because when I say waver, how many sounds are there in the middle of that in that vowel sound, in the first vowel sound? Waver.
Is a two and last is one.
Okay, what are the two sounds that you hear?
AE
Okay,
wavering.
okay, and
Way.
two more things. Number one, is this the accented syllable in the word? Waver.
Yes.
Okay, so it's really important to say it in a very long way. Do you agree?
Yes. Yes. I am forgetting this. So
Okay,
you're
but
wavering.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also we're adding another dimension to this. Is this an important word in the phrase?
Yes.
Okay, so there are several reasons why it's extremely important to be accurate, at least when you pronounce this word, that wavereth.
Wavereth.
Uh-huh. Nothing.
Wavereth.
Can you say nothing wavering?
Nothing wavering.
Hmm.
Wavering.
For he that wavereth.
For he that wavereth.
Okay, Muhammad, can you read that? Nothing wavering. For he that wavereth.
Nothing wavering,
Mhm.
for he that wavereth.
Okay, but it would be good if you could make that way longer because it's a really important syllable. Wavereth.
For he that wavereth.
Hmm. Wait, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth.
Nothing wavering, for he that wavereth.
Okay, and then this funny it says is like a wave. Is like a wave. What does that word wave mean, Muhammad?
Wave mean
Wave. Like a wave. What does that mean? Like a wave.
wave of the sea,
Yeah, that's
or it has another meaning, not literal meaning.
no, 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 that's right. Because, think about what they're talking about. Like sometimes if you have faith in God and it's very strong, that's okay. But then, just like a wave goes up, it also goes down. So, so he that wavereth is like a wave. Sometimes he has a lot of faith and sometimes none. Does that make sense? It's like the same movement.
Is this said by the Jesus?
Well, do you agree that sometimes people have very strong faith, but if they're having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, they could have zero faith?
Yes, but this paragraph is said by the Jesus,
No,
or
now I'm suddenly realizing that this cannot be from the Bible because this is a play with words. You have waver, which means that you're beginning to doubt, and then you have the word wave, which is a similar word, but but this is like an English play on words, so this must be a poem or something that somebody wrote from English, not translated from Aramaic or Hebrew or something or Greek, because this is like a game they're playing with words. So this could not be from the Bible. It's just somebody
okay.
wrote some advice. But
But
it's
I think the Bible have a poem in
Oh,
it.
definitely a lot, and I'm sure that we'll find like if we continue reading this, we'll find some of it definitely. But this particular thing must have been written by a person whose native language was English because they're making this kind of joke. It's not a joke, but kind of a interesting comparison of words. Is that pretty clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So, uh, but it's still good advice, I think. So we have nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave. Can you read the whole phrase?
For he the waves is like a wave
Okay, is it now?
of the sea.
Is it wavereth or wavereth?
For he that waves is like a wave
Yeah, if you
of
say
the sea.
if you say it the other way, it isn't very clear.
Yes,
Why don't you
Okay.
wait? Let's see. He that I'm asking ChatGPT now because I'm curious. He that wavereth is like a wave. Let's see if it recognizes who wrote it. Pachu, can you read the phrase?
yes, sir. Nothing wavering, for he that wavereth
Hmm.
is like a wave of the sea.
Okay, we'll have to fix that. But actually, this is from the Bible, according to ChatGPT, and it's from the New Testament, so it's not from the Old Testament. Uh, well, that's funny. I guess they. I wonder what the original says. Okay. All right. Let's try that again. Uh, start with nothing wavering. Can you read that, Pachu?
Is nothing wavering,
Okay.
wavering.
Now let's read the next line. For he that wavereth, just read that.
Okay. So he the wavereth,
Okay. What sound does waver start with?
ooh,
Ooh.
waver.
It was important to
Yeah.
hear that. If I don't hear that, I hear something close to avereth, and then it's difficult to understand. So you have to say wavereth.
Wavereth,
He that waver.
wavereth.
Say it again. He that wavereth
He that wavereth
is like a.
is like is like a is
Okay.
like a
Yeah, I think I have to reread the rules in the beginning of the book because that just makes sense to say. And Muhammad, you pointed that out too. Shouldn't those words be together? I think I'm going to reread the rules. Not now. Let's continue with our pronunciation. But I'm starting to think that maybe the one hyphen means connect the two words instead of a short pause. But I have to read it again. Okay, because it just makes sense.
Uh,
Like
is like a
same thing with the next two words. What are the next two words?
sir.
I think that religion books are pronounced differently
Well,
than normal speech.
no, no, no. It's just that, see, in the beginning of the book, they explained, okay, this symbol means this, and this symbol means that. So they gave us rules, and now they're just giving us things from different places, the Bible or poetry, and the idea is to follow the instructions of the symbols. So these symbols are not in the Bible. This is something that they put in the book to help us read in a better way. Right. So
Okay.
so that's what this is. But I think I've misinterpreted it. I think it should be like a wave of. Can you say that, Pachu? Like, let's do it like that. But I'm going to go back and check later. Like a wave of.
L- like a wave of.
Hmm. Okay. So for he that wavereth is like a wave of.
For he that wavereth is like a wave of.
Okay. Now is it wivereth or wavereth?
Wavereth.
That's really important because if you make that long sound very small, it becomes hard to understand the word. Wavereth.
Wavereth.
Hmm. You have
Wavereth.
to pay attention to the long sounds and the short sounds. So for he that
Yeah.
wavereth is like a wave of the sea.
Yeah. Yes. I also watched some YouTubers,
Hmm.
but they did not. No, and I said, yeah, which one is long sound and the short sound because it is important, and they only um, mm, pay attention after that.
Well,
So as before, yeah,
uh,
they did not use too much.
well, the thing is that, first of all, when you ask somebody who grew up speaking English which sound is long and which sound is short, they might think you're asking
Yes, yes,
they might think you're asking a very, very different question than what I'm talking about. And that's why I'm very
yes,
specific,
yes,
and I say duration, okay, because uh, people who learn English from when they're children, they learn long and short sounds mean something different than what I'm talking about. So I'm always saying long in duration to just make the point that we're talking about time and not something else. Okay, because so they might answer your question in a completely they might answer a completely different question if you say which sound is long and which sound is short. But yes, I don't think many people are talking about this, and it's extremely important. That's why I'm hoping one day I could have 1 million subscribers, but I doubt it. Because YouTube never
yes,
shows
yes,
my
yes.
videos to anybody. but, but we'll just keep doing it. And
Yes, yes. I also realize that many YouTubers are very, very knowledgeable, but yeah, the likes are, yeah, very less.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what determines who gets shown,
Yes, yes.
but it's not easy. Okay, but let's get back to this. We've got is like a wave of. Is like a wave of. And we've got like is big, like a wave of. That's the rhythm of English. Is like a wave of the sea. Can you say those final words?
Yeah, it's like a wave of.
Okay, but just give it a little bit more time. Like a wave of
It's like a wave of
the sea.
the sea.
For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea.
He that wavereth is like a wave of the sea.
Muhammad, can you read that line?
For he that waves is like a wave of the sea,
Can you hear the rhythm? Is like a wave of the sea.
is like a wave of the sea.
Okay. And then what is the what is the next phrase from driven to wind? Can you read that, Muhammad?
Driven with the wind and tossed,
What does tossed mean? Do you know?
like the toss we plays with it board games.
Okay. What toss means like throw. Okay. And if you imagine a boat, a little boat in the sea, and there's a big storm, what will happen to the little boat? This is tossing. The boat is being tossed in the water. It's being thrown in the water. Right. And then, or like when, if you're sleeping and you're not very comfortable and you move from this side to that side, that's tossing and turning. So it's kind of a
Yes.
chaotic back and forth movement.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. So we've got driven with the wind. What does drive mean? Driven with the wind. What does drive mean?
Associated with.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen that word being used to mean associated with something. What happens if you drive a car? What does that mean?
Like move the wheel.
Yeah, well, it means move the car. If you're driving a car, you're making the car move. So that's what drive means.
Yeah.
It means being caused to be moved.
Okay.
So what does driven with the wind? What does that mean?
Caused by the wind.
It caused the wind is causing movement of the water. Driven with the wind. Driven with the wind. What are the two important words according to the markings in this passage? What are the two important words in that phrase? Driven with the wind.
Wind and tossed.
Okay, but we're just talking.
Also driven.
Okay. All right, let's do all 6 words then. All right, so we've got driven and wind and tossed. And according to the markings, which words are most important?
Wind and toast.
Okay, so let's make those really big vowel sounds. Wind, tossed.
Driven with the wind. Driven with the wind and tossed.
Okay, so we've got driven with the wind and tossed.
Driven with the wind and tossed.
Which one sounds better, with the or with the?
With the.
With the, with the. Driven with the wind and tossed.
Driven with the wind and tossed.
Pachu, can you say that phrase? How would you pronounce that phrase?
Okay, so driven with the wind and tossed.
Okay, now is it driven or driven?
Driven.
Mm-hmm. Driven with the, when you have with the, those are little words, they don't matter. And then you can say with the, it, but not with driven. That's important. Driven with the,
Driven with the.
driven with the wind
Driven with the wind
and tossed.
and tossed.
Can you say that again, Mohammed?
Driven with the wind and tossed.
Okay. All right. All right. So then we have, for let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. That's a long sentence. Let's start with, for let not that man think. Okay. How will you say the first 3 words, Mohammed?
For let not.
Okay. And which is the most important word in that phrase, according to the marks?
Let.
Okay. So let's pronounce it a little bit more. Let's give it a little bit more length. For let not.
For let not.
Okay. And then what are the next 2 words?
That man think.
Okay.
চোখের
So and according to the markings, which words are important in that phrase?
Let and that. And think.
Which one is the most important word?
Think.
Think. So that man think. That man think.
Think. That man think.
For let not that man think.
For let not that man think.
Pachu, can you try that phrase?
Okay, sir. For let not that man think
Okay. And then what is the next phrase, Pachu?
that he shall receive
Okay. Let's do anything also. Anything.
anything.
Okay. And what are the important words in that phrase?
So receive and any.
Okay.
Receive is little important,
Mm-hmm.
but super important is any,
So,
which is another phrase.
so how should you
Yeah.
read it? How will you read it then?
So receive any.
Mhm. Receive any,
Okay. Receive any.
that he shall receive anything.
So that he shall receive anything.
Okay. And can you read that, Muhammad? How would you read that?
That he shall receive anything.
Okay. And what are the important words in that phrase?
Any.
Okay, that's the most important word. Any. What is a? Are there any other words that are important in that phrase?
Receive.
Okay. So can you read the phrase again, but this time put some importance on the word receive and a lot of importance on the word any? How would you do that?
That he shall receive anything.
That he shall receive anything.
That he shall receive anything.
Okay. And what is the next phrase?
Lord, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Okay, so first we have,
That
go ahead.
does that mean he is talking about the Lord, or he calling the Lord?
Well, let's, okay, so remember they're saying that you should not waver in your faith, because if you waver, you if you waver in your faith, you're like the wave in the sea. You go up, and sometimes you have a lot of faith, and then you go down, and then you have no faith, and that's a bad thing. And it's saying that a person should not think that if he has this attitude, that he could ever have any favor with God. And then, so a double minded man, that would be a man who thinks two things, like sometimes, oh, I love God, and sometimes the other. And that means if he's unstable like that in his faith, probably he's unstable like that in everything, in all his ways. Does that make sense? Do you know the word unstable?
Yes.
What does the word unstable mean?
Unstable means not fixed.
Unstable, unstable.
Unstable.
It's two sounds. A, stay, stable.
Unstable.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, yeah. So that means not fixed. Like, so instead of just being one way, having faith, sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. And probably if he's like that about faith, then probably he's like that about everything. Is that pretty clear?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go back. And so that he shall receive anything of the Lord. So now we have these two words of the. They always sound like one thing. Other, other, other. Can you say that?
Ava.
Other, other,
Of the
of the Lord. That's a big word there, of the Lord.
of the Lord,
Mm-hmm. So that he shall receive anything of the Lord.
that he shall receive anything of the Lord,
Panchu, can you say that phrase?
Okay, sir. That he shall receive anything of the Lord.
Okay, but don't forget to whistle when you say shall. Shall. He shall.
Shall, shall, shall.
Mhm. Say it again.
Yeah.
That he shall receive anything of the Lord.
That he shall receive anything of the Lord.
Okay. And then we have a double-minded man. Okay. What do you think that means?
A,
A double-minded man.
yeah, means he is like unstable.
Okay. Unstable. Unstable. Like thinking two different ways or two opposite ways, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay. And what are the important words in that phrase?
it's a double,
Oh,
and also the minded. Minded is super important. Double is, yeah, less.
oh no, I think you've got the reverse. Double is the important word, and minded and man,
Sorry, sir. Yeah.
but
Oh, yes.
not so important. Okay, so how would you read that? If double is very important, minded and man are important, but not super important. How should that be?
Yeah, so it's a double-minded man.
A double minded man. A double minded man.
Mm, yeah,
Double is the important word here. A double minded man. Can
it's double-minded man.
can you say that, Muhammad? How would you read that? A double minded man.
a double-minded man,
Which word is the most important word?
double,
So how should you say it if it's very important?
a double-minded man,
So probably what you want to do is make the vowel sound extra long. Double, double, double. Can you say it? Try to make the
a, dou-
long.
a double-minded man,
Mm-hmm.
a double-minded man.
this, what we're doing right now is we're kind of studying what are the important words and how do you make them important in a sentence. That's good for reading, but that's also good for, that's just normally how people speak in English, that they choose to focus on certain words that are important and they try to develop a rhythm while they're doing it. It's a really hard thing to study, but we're trying it right now and we're looking at different resources to do that. But so what this is doing is, but this is how people will talk. A double-minded man. They stress the important words in a phrase, and they do that by making the words extra long, the accented syllables extra long. Okay, so it's a useful exercise for being able to understand or listen to people when they're talking, but it will also reduce your accent enormously if you can recognize which words take the emphasis and how to emphasize them in the best way. Okay, so it's kind of important, even though it doesn't seem like it, but it is. So let's try that again. A double minded man. You have to make the vowel sound extra long.
A double-minded man
Okay. And then what is in the next phrase? Can you read the words?
is unstable in all his ways.
Okay. So if we say is unstable, in that word unstable, what is that an important word in the phrase? Unstable?
Uh, Unstable.
Is that an important word in the phrase?
Unstable and all and ways.
Okay, but is
And
unstable,
the
is that important according to the markings on the page? Is that an important word?
is important, yes.
Okay. And how do you show that it's an important word? What do you do to make it sound more important?
Stretch is a vowel.
Okay, which vowel? On? Bull?
Unstable
Yeah, unstable. Unstable. So we have is unstable in. Those are three words together.
is
Go ahead.
is unstable and
Hmm. And then what is our next most important word?
all.
Uh huh. And so how do you make it sound more important? What do you do?
All.
All. All.
All.
Is unstable in all his ways.
Is unstable in all his ways.
Yeah, so that's how you make, but that's what everybody does. It's not just for reading, it's when you're talking too. You make the important words longer and other things too, but we're just working on length. Can you say that, Pachu? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
A double minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Okay, is it stable or stable?
Stable.
Hmm.
Stable.
That's right. Can you try again?
A double minded man is unstable in all his ways.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Should we've been doing this for 2.5 hours. How many? Okay, I think so. I
Yes.
think we're going to stop here. I'm just going to read this final paragraph. This is the end of the section. So we're finished with the examples, and maybe tomorrow, I hope tomorrow, uh, we'll do the second part of this chapter. So it has been mentioned above
Yes.
that pronouns are usually unaccented, except when they are emphatic. So they're saying usually pronouns he, she, it, her, him, they usually they're not pronounced very clearly unless they're extremely important to the idea. Sometimes there could be reasons why you would want to emphasize that word, but normally you don't pronounce those very clearly. This observation renders it necessary to say something of the nature of emphasis, which is regulated upon different principle from accents, which we have explained above. Emphasis always suggests some contrast. So if you're emphasizing something, that's because it's always important or you're comparing it to something else. And any word in any sentence may, when a contrast is intended to be suggested, become emphatic. So you can emphasize any of these words, but in a normal sentence, it's usually something like an adverb or an adjective that you want to emphasize. Thus, the phrase on the table would, if no contrast were intended to be suggested, be acceptable, be accented on the syllable te in table. So in a normal sentence, you would say on the table. That would be the normal way of saying it. But you could say on the table. You know, that means like not under the table, not next to the table, on the table. So if you emphasize on, you're saying it's not under, it's not above, it's not next to, it's on. If you say on the table, I wonder what that would mean. I'm not even sure. And if the word on be accented immediately, it suggests the idea on as distinguished from under, not under, but on the table. The naturally accented syllable, however, may also be the emphatic one. Thus, if the word table be pronounced emphatically, on the table, it suggests the idea that not some other place, not on the chair, not on the sideboard, but on the table. Or to take a well known example, the following. Okay, we're going to stop here. So, tomorrow,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
later today,
Yes.
I'll probably be reading Dracula in about 5 hours or so. And then tomorrow, I'll try all three Gone with the Wind, some of this, and some of Dracula. We'll see how that works. But so I'll be back in about 5 hours and we'll be reading Dracula. Okay. All right.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for your participation, Mohammed and Pachu.
Okay.
Hope you come back when we.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye bye.